Good day, everyone. In this presentation, I will discuss the topic I've chosen from the Medium-Term Development Plan of 2017 to 2022. Chapter 7, Promoting Philippine Culture and Values. I choose this topic because the inherent Filipino culture and values is one of the major drivers in the development of our nation. If we have a clear understanding of our culture and values, the higher the possibility that we will achieve the development of our nation as a whole. Our values determine our goal, for we cannot pursue something we do not value, and our culture provides the necessary framework to pursue those values. In this chapter, the Philippine Development Plan highlights the different aspects in the development of Philippine culture and values. Among the topics discussed are assessment and challenges in Philippine culture and values, strategic framework in the development of Philippine culture and values, and the legislative agenda that promotes Philippine culture and values. Philippine culture requires assessment in order to identify which part is in need of improvement. Among the challenges outlined in this chapter are the following. 1. Filipino identity has been undermined, but there are inherent Filipino values that can be nurtured toward promoting the common good. Secondly, the concerns of culture extend beyond national border. Climate change and human-induced risk to the environment requires mechanisms to mitigate their impact on communities, tangible heritage, and biodiversity. The current governance framework for cultural development has been inadequate in addressing the concerns of the sector. And lastly, despite the legal mandates, agencies do not have adequate resources to implement programs for cultural development. After the identification of specific challenges, it's now appropriate that we devise a strategic framework in addressing these challenges, because only with strengthened awareness of the different cultures in the country can Filipinos have the capability to integrate their cultural heritage into their lives and contribute to the development of our nation. Different segments of society must have a general consciousness that they belong to the national community. We must be aware of our heritage and be determined to ensure its preservation. To achieve this, the following strategies will be implemented. Number 1. Develop, produce, disseminate, and open access to information about Filipino culture. Number 2. Institutionalize and intensify heritage conservation plans and programs. Determine a set of core values that foster common good. Expand inclusive cultural structures as civic spaces for dialogue and cultural exchange. Utilize various channels of values inculcation to reach all community members. Increase government efforts for promoting values that foster the common good. Mainstream cultural education in the basic, technical, vocational, and higher education systems. Build appreciation of Filipino creativity. Pursue institutional reforms for cultural development. Establish historic and cultural complexes nationwide as hubs for cultural education, entertainment, and tourism. And lastly, develop cultural assets across the country. In light of the efforts shown by the Philippine Development Plan in empowering and promoting the Philippine culture and values, I firmly support this initiative as a political science student, for I truly believe that the cultural awareness is a requirement for social inclusion and equity. Enhancing social fabric toward a high-trust society entails building better relations for social cohesion among people. More and better interactions among members of a community, in turn, requires awareness and appreciation of culture and values that drive people's attitude and behavior. Culture is that complex whole of people's way of life, which includes the knowledge, belief, art, law, morals, costumes, values, ideas, sentiments, and any other capabilities acquired by a person as a member of society. It offers a summation and distillation of the past that provides a sound basis for living in the present and marching into the future. Culture has several dimensions. Its role in development spans and intersects with multiple sectors. As such, culture is regarded as one of the pillars for achieving inclusive, sustainable, and human-centered development. Building culture into the formulation of policies and in the design of development intervention enhances the effectiveness of programs and projects because cultural contexts are recognized. Failure to acknowledge the significance of culture in shaping our society may lead to cultural fragmentation, perceived distrust toward Filipino people, parochialism, perpetuation of historical injustices, and inability to collaborate for nation building. Therefore, we must consider our circumstances. We must start small as a community. Have we taken full advantage of the opportunities offered to us? Are we working hard in our career or even our job? Or are we letting bitterness and resentment hold us back and drag us down? Have we made peace with our brothers? Are we treating our spouse and our children with dignity and respect? Do we have habits that are destroying our health and well-being? Are we truly shouldering our responsibilities? Have we said what we need to say to our friends and family members? Are there things that we could do, that we know we could do, that would make things better around us? Have we cleaned up our life? If the answer is no, here's something we must try. We must stop doing what we know to be wrong. We must have some humility. If we cannot bring peace to our household, how dare we try to rule a city? Let our own soul guide us. Watch what will happen over the days and the weeks. Perhaps we will then see that if all people did this in their own lives, the world might stop being an evil place. After that, with continued effort, perhaps it could even stop being a tragic place. Who knows what existence might be like if we all decided to strive for the best? Who knows what eternal heaven might be established by our spirits, purified by truth, aiming skyward right here on the fallen earth. How can I help the government attain its plan in my own little way as student of political science? Well, I believe that the good the people do, small though it may appear, has more to do with the good that manifests broadly in the world than people think. And I believe the same about evil. We are each more responsible for the state of the world and our culture than we believe. Without careful attention, culture itself tilts toward corruption. Tyranny grows slowly and asks us to retreat in comparatively tiny steps. As political science students, we must better stand forward, awake when the costs are relatively low, and perhaps when the potential rewards have not yet vanished. We must tell the truth. We must take responsibility of our own lives, stop pointing fingers on each other, and start fixing our own house before we criticize the world. We must study hard in order for us to become a good citizen of this nation and perhaps a leader in this country. The responsibility of the preservation of our culture is in our hands. Therefore, we must do our best to preserve it. As a matter of fact, things fall apart. This is one of the great discoveries of humanity, and we speed the natural deterioration of great things through blindness, inaction, and deceit. Without attention, culture degenerates and dies, and evil prevails. Therefore, as a political science student, I must embrace my distinct culture and values as a Filipino and practice it in my daily lives. Values such as malasakit, bayanihan, pakikipagkapwa-tao is a way that Filipinos recognize kinship among themselves. These values needs to be inculcated in our daily lives in order for us to have national unity and social cohesion. This is Vincent Duwilawas. Thank you all for listening.